The family of the incapacitated woman who was raped and impregnated at Hacienda Healthcare is now filing suit against the woman's doctors and the state of Arizona.
But the lawsuit also sheds light on shocking new allegations against the long-term care facility. Team 12's Bianca Bono has the story.
New allegations of sexual abuse, detailed in a lawsuit filed on behalf of the incapacitated woman who was raped, impregnated, and shockingly gave birth at Hacienda Healthcare on December 29, 2018.
The baby's turning blue, baby's turning blue!
The lawsuit detailing Hacienda staff did not know the then 29-year-old woman was pregnant until they saw a baby boy's head as they were changing her briefs.
One of our patients just had a baby and we had no idea she was pregnant.
The lawsuit including shocking new information, alleging this wasn't the first time this woman was sexually abused while under the care of Hacienda. On May 6, 2002, 16 years earlier, Hacienda employees reporting the possible sexual abuse of 5 disabled residents at the facility to Phoenix police. They believe one of those 5 victims, the same incapacitated woman. At the time of that incident, she had just turned 13. The lawsuit says the victim's parents were notified, and they then explicitly requested their daughter be cared for by female staff only. We now know that request was not followed. Documents show that Nathan Sutherland, the nurse charged with raping and impregnating the woman, was alone with the victim on hundreds of occasions. In addition to blaming the state of Arizona, the lawsuit also naming the victim's 2 doctors, Philip Gear and Tan Nguyen. The family says what happened to the defenseless woman has beyond devastated her parents, causing them to become physically ill at times. Dr. Tan Nguyen is still allowed to practice medicine while Philip Gear has surrendered his medical license. Nathan Sutherland is set to go to trial on rape charges next month. We're in the newsroom. Bianca Bono, 12 News.